Okay, woof. So guys, I woke up yesterday and it was Iowa is flipping blue. This next woman here, she cannot believe that Iowa turned blue. Like it's turning blue 47 to 43. Listen to her.
Hey guys, Iowa's starting to swing blue. Iowa is getting ready to turn blue.
Guys, it's like a joke. Like it's like what do you mean? What the hell? What do you mean that Iowa is turning blue? Right? I tell you, don't mess with older women. Don't mess with older women. They will surprise you in ways that you never know.
It's swinging. You know, it's been red for the last 2 times that Trump ran for president. You know that, right? But right now, it's 47-43 in favor of Kamala Harris. Iowa, y'all. Iowa, you know, where they grow corn.
Surprising new poll out of Iowa. It shows Vice President Harris up 3 points over the former president, 47% to 44%. Now, that number is still within the margin of error, so there's no clear leader. Former president.
Yeah, it's still very much within the margin of error. And polls don't determine elections. Votes do. So if you're still thinking like, oh, Kamala can win, she will win if you vote.
So it's said that it's going to be a bloodbath, that she's going to win by so much. And it's amazing. It's so amazing. I love it.
She is glittering. Her eyes are glittering.
I love it. Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, 2025, y'all. Yeah.
Well, things are looking so bad for Trump right now that the Trumpers are literally getting on Twitter, emailing themselves fake polling information that they made up out of their heads and pretending like it's some kind of insider poll knowledge that only they have access to due to being God's favorite boy. I have multiple favorite parts of this, honestly. Number one, the fact that they put Trump at +3 for Iowa, like that's some kind of win, and not them just saying uno reverse to the Selzer poll. 1B, the fact that none of these numbers make logical sense. Like if Trump is only up 3 in Iowa, you think he's going to be up 3.1 in Georgia?
Iowa! As a Texan, I honestly forget y'all exist. Iowa. Y'all rocking out like that? Thank you.
I tell you, women are happy, elated. And it's women everywhere.
Hey, Iowa. Thank you, bro. I might even go visit your state and drop some money in there. Keep up the good work, man. Make it happen. Thanks again, Iowa.
Iowa flipping blue. Nobody can believe this. Nobody ever thought that women of Iowa are that badass. Like they'll like flip blue.
Let's talk about this Iowa poll. Suddenly, Iowa is the center of the political universe. A poll comes out just of Iowa voters, and it shows Kamala Harris ahead by 3 points. Now, this is a pretty red state the last 2 elections. Tell us why this matters and what it might symbolize.
Yes, so red that both parties decided at the start of this campaign this was not going to be a battleground state. They were not going to spend a fortune. They were not going to send the candidates there for events. The media picked up on that. They have not been covering the presidential race in Iowa.
None of the candidates cared about Iowa. Ouch. That hurts. Like, if I was in Iowa right now, I would not feel good about that statement.
The pollster who took this poll, the reason this got so much attention, she has an excellent track record in Iowa of coming in at the very end and nailing what the final result is.
I mean, it seems unlikely, but I wouldn't bet against Selzer.
This is what it's going to be in Iowa, but it raises possibilities nobody's been thinking about before.
And if you get into it,
Trump thought Iowa was solidly red, and Kamala thought Iowa was solidly red. So they were like, why waste time going there? They will vote red anyway. It's like, why not focus more on other battleground states? Come to find out, Iowa is a battleground state.
It's quite revealing in terms of where Kamala Harris is finding support in a state like Iowa, which is a traditionally ruby red state.
Exactly. What they found in this poll was a massive gender gap, in particularly among older women. Harris running up a massive margin over Trump there might be tied to the issue of abortion, which is particularly front and center in Iowa.
Des Moines Register is out with a brand new poll conducted by Selzer's firm. This, as you know, is the gold standard of polling in Iowa, and it shows Vice President Harris with a 3-point lead over Donald Trump in that state. Joining us now, pollster Selzer. Take us inside your poll.
It does seem like something's happening. Now, we've been living with the numbers day by day as we've been gathering the data, so we've had a little bit of time to get over the initial shock. You know, Iowa is a very Republican state. There's only one person at statewide office or federal office who is a Democrat, so to have the presidential candidate lead by a substantive margin was shocking to begin with. One of the reasons she is leading is because of her strength with women generally, even stronger with women age 65 and over. Her margin is more than 2 to 1, and this is an age group that shows up to vote or votes early in disproportionately large numbers. So it's a little bit of the boost that Kamala Harris has gotten this time.
I thought I'd say Kamala Harris is leading Donald Trump in Iowa. This is a shocking turnaround in a state that was practically handed to Trump the last 2 election cycles. The new Des Moines Register Iowa poll, led by top pollster Selzer, has completely flipped the script. Now Harris is up 47% to Trump's 44% among likely Iowan voters. But why does this matter so much? Well, in September, Trump led Harris by 4 points and even held a massive double-digit 18-point lead over Biden in June. Selzer, known for her spot-on predictions, says it's hard for anyone to say that they saw this coming, and that's a big deal. Selzer has a history of accurately predicting major upsets. She famously correctly predicted Trump winning the 2016 election. So let's talk about what's driving this shift. It's mostly independent voters, and specifically independent women over 65. This group has pulled away from Trump in large numbers, with Harris now winning independent women by 28 points. Women overall favor Harris by 20 points, while Trump's advantage among men has shrunk by half since September. But it's not just the demographics shifting. Voters are choosing sides on totally different issues. For example, Trump's base, it's the economy and immigration. For Harris's supporters, it's saving democracy and reproductive rights. So what does this all mean, and why the hell does this all matter? Iowa, a state Republicans thought was solidly theirs, could become a serious battleground. If Harris manages to flip Iowa, it could signal shifts in other swing states, dramatically altering the electoral map. The Selzer Iowa poll suggests a potential shift in voter dynamics that could influence other battleground states. So if Iowa, which leans strongly Republican in recent election cycles, is now competitive or leaning slightly Democrat, it may indicate a broader trend of suburban and independent voters, especially women and seniors, moving towards Democrat candidates.
This is what she means in a nutshell. She means that, it's like a wave. Iowa is an indicator, is indicating, there could be a wave coming in of people who support Kamala that you didn't even count. And these are independent voters, women over 65 or 60 and 65, that Kamala age group going up. That wave, if you're solidly Trump and you're solidly Kamala, it doesn't matter, your vote is solidly there. But the people who are kind of independent, they don't know which way they lean, they're flipping blue. And that's a big deal because they are the ones who...
Don't tell us.
When I was at MSNBC talking to Steve Kornacki all the time, one of the things that he talked about was that states don't generally just act alone, that there are shared cultures across states which lead to them voting in similar ways. Generally, California and Oregon are going to vote together. There's a shared culture. Or Wisconsin and Michigan are probably going to do the same thing. Or Kentucky and Tennessee. There's shared cultures to where they're probably going to do the same thing. But help me understand this. If it's true that Kamala is leading or just tied in Iowa, why are we not seeing that reflected in other polls? And I'm not saying this to cast doubt or aspersion on the Iowa poll. I respect her and her methodology and her history. She knows what she's talking about, Selzer. She gets this right 95% of the time. But where are the other states? Where are the folks in, let's say, Missouri? or Nebraska who agree with the Iowans that, yes, we like Kamala. If there's a lot of Kamala voters in Iowa, there should be a lot of Kamala voters also in one of the neighboring states.
Actually, that's a very good question. But there can only be two things. Either there's a pattern, like other states, like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, Nebraska. Either there's a pattern that they're moving towards endorsing Harris, or Iowa is just an outlier, like an anomaly, like something weird happened in Iowa and, they flipped. It could be like that. So what would cause Iowa to become an outlier? Okay, this is my guess. Supposing that this is not a pattern and we won't see any more trends moving towards women in Iowa, women outside Iowa voting for Donald Trump. Then we can look at when Harris joined the campaign, what was happening in Iowa. And around that time, Iowa put into effect the 6 weeks ban on abortion. Around that time that Kamala got into this whole seat. So maybe that emotionally affected women and made them want to come and vote in large numbers in Iowa as opposed to other places where the ban is not in effect. And that could swing massively, how women think about this election. And we do not probably see that replicating in other states. This is a big issue among that age group, and it's going to replicate like a wave everywhere. Unfortunately, tomorrow is the election day and we don't have time to know what will happen. I guess we shall find out tomorrow if Iowa was just an outlier, an anomaly in this election, or this is a trend in this election. Frankly, I don't know. The only vote that counts is the one that you cast. So you go vote. Go vote, vote, vote. If you want your state to flip to blue, you better vote.
This is major breaking news. Kamala Harris has just taken the lead in Iowa. Now, to be very clear, this just isn't any random regular poll. This is the Selzer Des Moines Register poll, which actually is the best, the cream of the crop. It is the most
It's the creme de la creme. Okay?
polling system for the state of Iowa. Now, as you can see, Kamala Harris has, as they say, leapfrogged over Donald Trump. According to the polls, Trump has won Iowa twice. As we see what's happening specifically because of the women's vote. The women's vote is so powerful, it has literally overridden any male's vote.
Women are overriding males' votes in Iowa. It's the women. Hey, I tell you, you don't mess with Iowa women. They'll flip on you. Like, they'll frog leap on you. Like, you don't mess with Iowa women. I'm afraid of Iowa women right now. They can do damage,
State of Iowa at this point. Again, this is major breaking news for the state of Iowa. This is so amazing. So to everyone who's watching, continue to do what you're doing. Vote blue up and down the ballot. Let's continue this energy so that we bring home a solid win for Kamala Harris.
If you want your state to remain red, actually that's interesting. It's interesting that people have no fear of any blue state flipping red. And I should tell you something about this election, but anyway, Trump always had the numbers because Kamala came into this election like 3 months ago. So he had the numbers up, and it was up to Kamala's campaign to chip away at his advantage. So we don't know how much she has done. Iowa is just kind of teasing everybody. Like, she could have flipped this election, but we really truly don't know. So you go vote. Vote. That's all we can say. You go vote. So, well, thanks again for tuning in. Again, my name is Kanini. Like, subscribe, and share. And until next time, may God bless you.